Hey you guys, for today's video, I wanted to do this crazy colorful smoky eye using this new eyeshadow palette from Urban Decay. I don't know how to pronounce who this is in collaboration with, but I will link the palette down below. I was most attracted to these three shades in the palette, so this is what I came up with. And I don't have any false lashes on today because I don't care. I just didn't want to do false lashes, so I hope you guys enjoy this video. Please subscribe and let's get into it. I'm first gonna go in with this Milk Makeup eye pigment in the color Sesh. I'm putting a little bit on the back of my hand, dotting it on my lid with my finger, and then I'm going in with a Crown Pro C533 brush and I'm buffing that all over the lid and the crease area. This is gonna give me a nice base and help all of the blue shades look a little bit more pigmented, more vibrant, and more apparent. I'm gonna go into this Urban Decay palette. It is the Jean-Michel Basquiat. I don't know how to say this. I'm gonna take the color Boom. It's like this turquoise blue shade. And I'm taking this on a Smith 232. And then I'm gonna bring this into the crease of my eye. Kind of like going right where we ended that pigment. Very lightly building up the color and doing circular motions. I'm gonna grab a little bit of this green shade here called Exu, I think it's called. I'm gonna pick up a little bit of that on the same brush and then use that to blend out this shade even more. I'm gonna switch over to a little bit more of a precise brush. This is the Smith 230. I'm gonna go back into that Boom shade, the like bright turquoisey shade, and get that even more defined in the crease and more pigmented. And here on the inner corner, I'm just kind of like rocking back and forth just to add the pigment there. So now I'm gonna switch over to a flatter brush. This is the 239 from MAC, and I'm gonna go into that deepest blue shade called Untitled. It's almost like a cobalt navy. It's so pretty. So I'm gonna pat this all over the lid, all over where we put that pigment, and it's gonna make it really, really deep. And then the closer I get into the crease area, I'm just gonna pull back on my brush and lightly feather it in. That way it's not too harsh up at the crease area because we want it to blend into that more turquoisey shade. So as you can see when I look down, you can see that there's like this line of separation between the darkest blue color and then the turquoisey greens that we've got going on in the crease. So I'm gonna switch over to a Smith 235 brush. As you can see, it's really, really long and super tapered and really pointed at the end. What I'm gonna do is go into that Boom shade and put that right on the tip of that brush. Approach the crease from the top and lightly try to mend those two shades together. And you don't want to come from below here because if you do, it's gonna move that darker blue shade up too high. We don't want that to go too high. We want it all to stay pretty low. And already you can see it's kind of like starting to fade a little bit better. This side looks a lot better than this side. You wanna work just a little bit at a time and work very slowly so that it doesn't move around. I find that blues are like the trickiest and hardest to work with. So if you just do a little bit at a time, take your time, it should turn out all right. And don't forget to keep checking from your close mirror and then looking back at your mirror that's further away to make sure it's looking all right. So I'm just gonna go into the highlight that I plan on using on my face and use it on my brow bone. This is the Ofra Cosmetics Rodeo Drive Highlighter. I'm just gonna place that right on the brow bone, and I like that it is extremely bright and highlighty, and it is more of that like goldeny shade. So it's really going to complement what's going on in the eyes. I really want a dramatic wing, so I'm gonna go into my Inglot Gel Liner and create one. If you want a full tutorial on that, click the link up at the top right hand corner. For foundation, I'm gonna go into the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea foundation in the color Light Neutral, and then I'm gonna buff this into the skin using a Crown Pro C517. And then for concealer, I'm gonna be using the MAC Pro Longwear Concealer. I'm in the shade NW15. It is a little bit light. I'm gonna dot this underneath the eyes and then blend it out with the same brush that I used for my foundation, and then whatever's left over on the brush, I will lightly distribute that to the nose, chin, and forehead just to highlight, and I don't really want that much coverage, so that's why I'm using whatever's left over on the brush for that step. I'm gonna go in and cream contour using these Smashbox contour sticks, and I have a full video on contouring and highlighting. Click up in the top right hand corner. You can see how I contour for a more rounder face shape. Whether you think that my face is round or not, I've been loving contouring this way, and I think it really looks nice and kind of like chisels and slims my face. So I really like the way it looks. And I've been loving these Smashbox contour sticks. They're just so creamy, so easy to blend out, and it's more of a cool toned contour shade, so it's gonna create the shadow, but it's not gonna make me look gray. So I've really been loving these. And I'm just using that same brush that I've been using for the face, the Crown Pro C517, just to blend all of that out. I'm gonna go into the Rimmel Stay Matte Powder and just set my face. I'm using this number 7 brush from IT Cosmetics, which is seriously one of the best brushes ever. You can use it for foundation, you can use it for bronzer, you can use it for contouring, you can use it for face powder, you know, anything you want. I'm gonna go in and use the Tantastic Bronzer from Marc Jacobs. It's so beautiful. It's one of their limited edition bronzers. It smells like coconuts and it looks gorgeous. And I'm just using this Real Techniques brush to blend this in. And this is more of a matte bronzer, so you could kind of like contour with this too, which is kind of what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna bronze and contour with it. It's very blendable, it's very buttery. It's a great color too. It's not too ashy, it's not too orangey. Smells amazing. For blush, I'm gonna go into Brilliant Nude from Hourglass. It's one of their ambient blushes. And I'm using this Smith 112 brush, and I'm buffing this on the cheeks. It's seriously such a beautiful blush. I wore it twice so far, and each time I've just been obsessed. Could possibly become one of my favorite blushes. And it's funny because it's got so much radiance in it, but it's just so beautiful. I'm gonna go into that Ofra Cosmetics Rodeo Drive highlighter and hit the high points of the cheekbones. All right, moving back to the under eye area, I'm first gonna go into that Exu shade, I guess, that like limey green shade. And I'm gonna use a Smith 247. Just because it's like my only clean brush right now. I'm gonna look up into my mirror and just buff this all over that lower lash line. And then I'm gonna add some Boom, which was that like turquoisey shade, and just kind of do the same thing. And now I'm picking up a Sigma flat definer brush. It's the E15, and I'm gonna pick up the Untitled shade, which is that super, super cobalty navy blue, and work that super close into the lash line. And then I'm gonna go back into Boom with that same brush, the E15, and work that right over top of the deeper blue shade just to help blend it out and look a little bit more gradual. I'm gonna fill in my waterline with this black eyeliner pencil from Ardency In, and then I'm gonna go back in and blend that out just before it dries, and it will kind of mend the eyeliner with the lower lash line eyeshadows just so it kind of like fades real nicely. I'm gonna apply some mascara, and then I'm highlighting my inner corner super heavily with the highlighter that we used on our face. For lipstick, I'm gonna go into the Purely Nude lipstick from Maybelline, number 535. And then I'm gonna line my lips afterwards, and I'm using the NYX lip pencil in the color Nude Suede Shoes, and I'm gonna overline and make them look a little bit more plump. And then I'm topping it off with the Marc Jacobs Sugar Sugar lip gloss. All right, that is everything, you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out today. Please subscribe before you leave, and I'll see you later. Bye.